Hey everybody, Coach Los here, right back at you with another YouTube video. Today, as you can tell in the title, we're going to talk a little bit about Ole Gunnar Solskaer and his run as he's been interim manager and now the long-term manager for Manchester United, and what his record has looked like, what things that have happened, and from a coach's perspective, from my coach's perspective, and just to go over that stuff and what I think of it, and where I think he went right, where I think he went wrong, and things of that sort. So, first things first, let's do a quick little timeline. December of 2018 now. It is Jose Mourinho is in charge and he loses the job, gets sacked or fired, whatever you want to call it. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is named as the interim manager. He comes in, that whole new manager, pickup thing kind of comes into play, and he plays a little bit more attacking style football. He initially played a 4-3-3 and then switched over to a 4-2-3-1. Which he's for the most part stuck with, and we'll get into that later in another video. They play well for several months, and they play really, really fast, attacking football. They press high and all that really good stuff. And then towards the end of the season, they kind of struggled a little bit and didn't win as much, got a lot more draws and losses and things of that sort. And they just looked kind of tired and ran into the ground a little bit. And then the season ended. They came back out swinging and started the new season, the 2019-2020 season. Excuse me, that's one of our dogs. And they just kind of dominated, Chelsea's was the first game where they won 4-0, as a lot of you guys already know. And that really split a lot of Man United fans, because it kind of showed, people who, there's a whole lot of Ole inners and a lot of Ole outers. I guess you can qualify me as an Ole inner if you really wanted to narrow it down, but really I'm just in favor of Manchester United doing well, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has the right stuff. You just need to give him time to, learn this stuff, because it is Manchester United. In my opinion, just really quickly, in my opinion, there's always going to be a learning curve when a new manager comes to Manchester United, period. It happened with Louis van Gaal. It happened with David Moyes. It happened with Sir Alex Ferguson. It happened with Jose Mourinho. It's going to happen with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it is going to happen with the next guy who comes in, because Manchester United is one of the biggest clubs in the world, and it is English Premier League, period. It's just no way around it. So no matter what you're going to do, no matter who you bring in, you're going to need to give that person time to get used to Manchester United, because there's a certain expectation of style of play. There's a certain way fans react, and there's a certain way that they're always in the spotlight, period. Whether we're doing well, whether we're doing bad, whether we're doing terrible, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be a humongous spotlight. Even if there's nothing going on at Manchester United, they're doing perfectly fine in second place or whatever, and nobody's feuding or anything like that. There's always going to be rumors of somebody throwing a temper tantrum or something like that. It's just the way it is. It's Manchester United. It's the biggest club in the world, next to Real Madrid, Barcelona, and yeah, that's it. Like, there's just no way around it. So people need to understand that and get that in their head right away. Moving on. Now that it's 2020 and we're in this middle of COVID-19 here in California, we're still on lockdown. It's late March, and we're about to go into April, and supposedly we're supposed to be indoors in this shelter in place until March 30th. So, they started the 2019-2020 season pretty strongly, and then it kind of teetered off a little bit through late October into January, and January was nerve-wracking, because you had all this speculation about Bruno Fernandes coming to the squad and whatnot. So there was just a lot of speculation, a lot of things up in the air, and it was very stressful for me. One, because I was working a lot. Like, there was a little over a month where I just worked every single day, like 12 hours, 13, 14, 16 hours a day, and like got no rest and everything like that. And so it was just a totally difficult time, and Manchester United was going through everything that it was going through, so it was a tough time. Now once the dust settled for January, we had brought in Bruno Fernandes, we had brought in Gunnar who kind of split opinions again. And both of those signings have proven to be solid signings, and they've been an amazing help to the squad. And just like the summer signings with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, and Daniel James, those have all been solid signings. And Daniel James probably being the least of the contributor in a positive sense, but still a solid signing, still doing better than the other players on average. It's just there's so much to talk about because so much has happened. But what I think happened with the end of the last season, which was 2018-2019 season, is the reason they did so well is, again, because there is a new manager, because there was, they were kind of like dogs let off the leash, where they were able to go out and express themselves and do the things that they are good at personally and contribute to the team the way that they can most effectively. I think that that's a big reason why they did such a good job for a while, for such a long time. And I think that because they were able to contribute in that way, they weren't ready to continue to play that way for as long as they were needed to. So, for example, or I should say, basically what I'm saying is, with the style of Jose Mourinho, and they, counterattacking, sit back, soak up pressure and stuff like that, you don't do a whole lot of running. You don't need endurance or stamina as much. So, they weren't trained up for that. They weren't, their physicality and their fitness wasn't set up for pressing high and doing what Ole Gunnar Solskaer was asking of them. Also, you had a lot of deadwood, as everybody calls it, which means, your players who are capable, who are at that level of Manchester United, as everybody calls it. You have a lot of players like that who are compensating for what the other players are, where the other players are falling short. So you got guys like Paul Pogba doing double or triple the role, and he was playing a CDM, CAM, and center mid. He was just all over the place, and I felt bad for him. He was playing as number 6, number 8, number 10, and sometimes he was even going up and acting as a striker, and it was just all over the place. And I felt bad for the players who were trying to make things happen, and they just didn't have the energy to go out there and do it. And they also didn't have the fitness. They also didn't have their bodies weren't set up for that because they were getting broken down. So it was a kind of a domino effect in a sense. So that's where that that is kind of what caused the end of the last season to kind of teeter off and be a little bit more negative. From my perspective, from a coach's perspective, I could see that, and you could see it where because a lot of players would be out of position. You'd find Paul Pogba out on the wings and things of that sort. So, I think that that's a big thing. And you see that now with Bruno Fernandes, now that Paul Pogba at the moment is injured and hopefully is coming back. You see Bruno Fernandes doing the same thing. Now, he's a little bit different because he's been given a pass to roam by Ole. And so that means that he's able to go out into the wings and explore in between the lines and switch sides and things of that sort. And he's a little bit more of a leader. And I think we all know that and understand that and agree with that. But he is a little bit of a different animal, but it's still really the same thing. Generally speaking, you have this player who's trying to make things happen and contribute to the team. Now, he's going to be an interesting player to watch along with Paul Pogba, and how are they going to work together later. We can talk about that later in a different video, but overall speaking, I think Ole has got the right things. Now, people need to ease up on him a little bit because he is a new coach. He is with this new squad of players who, it's difficult right now because he got rid of a lot of guys who are deadwood, and now he's kind of trying to plug in, try different systems. I mean, that's why a lot of people are getting frustrated with him, because he doesn't stick to a system, and it's because he's experimenting. I think he's not completely, but somewhat written this league or this season off because he wanted to kind of have a chance to see where everybody's going to be able to contribute the most. And I think that he's got the right mindset, in the sense that he needs to figure out who's going to play where in what system and where they're going to be most effective against what type of teams. Having Bruno Fernandes join the squad is going to be able to help us unlock a lot of things like that. And having Odion Nugalu join the squad also allows us to play a different style and add a different dynamic and add a different danger to the Man United squad. So, you know, I think it's going to take some time to just let him experiment, let him see, okay, you know, 4-2-3-1 is good in this situation against a squad like this. A 4-3-3 is going to be the way to go when we're playing against a squad like this. Now, the way that I have always set up teams and things of that sort, again, this is just youth soccer from what I've coached. I always examine, we go out there, we go out onto the field expecting to play a certain way, our way, to dominate and, you know, control the tempo of the game. And when I see a weakness in the other side, I use my team's strengths to exploit that weakness. And so you'll see me switch things up a little bit here and there, and, you know, give instructions to a player and point out things to a player and ask them, what can you do to, you know, take advantage of that? And, you know, you'll see them go out there and they'll do it. They'll figure it out. It might take a little bit with those players because they're young, but, you know, they eventually get it, and it starts to dig into their head that, hey, I need to start paying attention to what the other team's got and doesn't got, so I can use that and use my strengths to exploit that. And I think that's the kind of mindset that helps a coach like Ole in the situation that Ole is in at the moment, because you need to build this team. We need to build it. Okay, who's going to make the cut? Who's going to, you know, contribute to the team? Who's going to give their everything to the squad and leave nothing left on the field when they walk off of the field? So I think time, be patient, look at the little details, and pay attention to what's happening off of the ball. And yeah, just chill. Everybody needs to chill. And I think with this whole shutdown thing right now, it's kind of giving everybody a little bit of perspective to sit back and just be like, okay, it is time to chill. This is going to take a little bit, and that's fine. You know, we will get there. We're Man United. It's just a matter of time. We just need to understand that they need to be given time, and they will happen. Anyways, that's it for today. Just wanted to go over that really quickly with you guys. And yeah, so next video will be a little bit more specific about players and things of that sort. So let's go ahead and get to it. Later.